In the early 1930s, Barzini, along with his brother Ettore, became one of the capos in Giuseppe Mariposa's organization. He began to grow unhappy with Mariposa after Mariposa murdered his friend Tits merely on suspicion of treachery. After Barzini attempted to assassinate Vito Corleone at a parade, which turned into a massacre, he began to see the tide turning in Don Vito's favor, betrayed his boss Giuseppe Mariposa for Vito. After Mariposa's death, Barzini took over the remnants of Mariposa's organization and presided as head of the renamed Barzini family. Under his leadership he rebuilt the family to be considered the second most powerful crime family in both New York and the nation, behind only Vito Corleone. Barzini had interests in markets such as narcotics, gambling and prostitution, and also had the foresight to be interested in Las Vegas and Cuba. He was also linked to Wall Street politics and the mafia in Sicily. Barzini was respected enough by Don Corleone to be invited to the wedding of his daughter Connie even though Vito knew Barzini attempted to assassinate him. Barzini had an interest in expanding into drug trafficking, introducing Sollozzo to Bruno Tattaglia. Barzini used the Tattaglia family as a pawn to approach Vito Corleone. When Vito refused to participate in the heroin trade, however, Sonny showed disappointment in the decision. Barzini and Sollozzo secretly conspired with the other families to force the Corleones to open up their territory to drug trafficking. After 2 attempted assassination attempts by the Tattaglia family, the Corleone and Tattaglia family went to war. Barzini's involvement was unknown and he was shielded from the war. Following the death of Virgil Sollozzo and Mark McCluskey, Barzini encouraged all the families to go to war with the Corleones because of the additional police attention sparking the 5 families' war. However, Barzini was most likely looking for revenge for the death of Sollozzo. Barzini approached Carlo Rizzi with a plot to draw acting boss Sonny Corleone out to the Jones Beach Causeway toll booth where he was ambushed and killed. Don Corleone forbade any inquiries into Sonny's death, instead asking Barzini to help him set up a peace summit. It was at this meeting that Don Corleone discovered that Philip Tattaglia, as apparent instigator of the war against the Corleone family, was not calling the shots. Barzini was the puppet master inconspicuously orchestrating the anti-Corleone alliance. Tattaglia betrayed his true and diminished role by desperately seeking Don Corleone's promise of peace, and turning to Barzini for his approval and guarantee of protection. Barzini had used his contacts in the Sicilian mafia to assassinate Michael Corleone with a car bomb. However, Apollonia, Michael's wife, was instead killed by the car bomb meant for Michael. Emilio Barzini had arguably the most modern mind out of all the 5 families' dons, due to his comparative youth and experience in the current age of organized crime. He takes advantage of this experience and exploits what he considered to be the outdated ideas of his rival Vito Corleone. He has little regard for the traditions of his culture and is entirely driven by profits. He is frustrated by Don Vito's opposition toward drug trafficking, which Don Vito believes would destroy the families and their businesses in the future. However, unlike the much wiser and composed Vito Corleone, Barzini lacks foresight and is only attentive to what is current. Thus, he dismisses the Godfather's predictions of the mafia's downfall due to its association with narcotics, which would prove to be greatly accurate in later years. His ruthlessness and treacherous nature are hidden beneath his charisma when socializing, as he shows himself to be courteous and reasonable when discussing the war with the fellow heads of organized crime. He is very witty and makes several jokes, masking his involvement with the much more obtuse Philip Tattaglia and presenting himself to be neutral in the recent conflicts. However, this facade is not enough to fool Corleone, and he quickly deduces that Barzini is the mastermind of the entire effort against his family. Not satisfied with the submission of the Corleones, Barzini began chipping away at their territories in New York. Unbeknown to Don Barzini, the Corleones were allowing Barzini to muscle in on the Corleone interests to lull him into an action, and soon after Michael returned from hiding in Sicily, he and Don Corleone began making plans for retaliation. At Vito Corleone's funeral, Barzini approached Salvatore Tessio to organize another peace summit where Michael was to be killed, which revealed Tessio as the traitor. However, Barzini didn't know that he had walked into a neatly arranged trap. A few days after Don Corleone's death, Barzini was assassinated on the steps of the courthouse on Manhattan's Foley Square. Barzini came out to find El Neri, disguised in his old police uniform, killing his bodyguards and driver. Before Barzini could react, Neri shot him twice in the back, as he turned to run away. Barzini tumbled about halfway down the steps, where he lay dead.